Well, hello, my friends. Okay, lovely listeners, welcome back to Desire Dialogues. I am your host, sex coach Lauren Nicole. So excited today. We're going to explore what you didn't learn in school about sex, love, and relationships. We're talking about the penis. Yes, the penis. So, this little organ has had quite a big impact on history, culture, and identity. So from ancient phallic symbols to modern conversations about masculinity, we're going to explore how the penis has been celebrated, misunderstood, and even weaponized through time. So whether you have one, love someone who does, or just curious as fuck, this episode's for you. Let's unpack the fascinating history of the penis. So let's kick things off with a time when the penis wasn't just an orgasm, like an organ, right? It was this goddamn symbol of power, fertility, prosperity. So, like, take ancient Egypt, for example, right? In their mythology, the god Osiris was dismembered, but his penis was so important that it was actually reconstructed by Isis to conceive a child. So, whoa, talk about a spotlight moment, right? And then we have ancient Greece. So, have you ever heard of the Herm statues? They were actual pillars with penises that were meant to protect cities, homes, and roads. So Greeks even had festivals like the Dionysian. It's literally, this is great. Ready? Phallophoria. Phallofhoria. This is where they paraded giant phallic structures and sculptures to honor fertility and the celebration of life. So, like, hella shit, right? Then, similarly, we actually had the Romans, too. They weren't shy for their love for the phallus, right? They used fascinum, which is phallic amulets, as charms to ward off evil. So back then, the penis really wasn't just a body part. It was actually this great talisman of power and luck. So, yeah, of course, history is this habit of turning celebration into control. So as patriarchal religions kind of gained influence, the penis became a little bit more about morality and dominance versus fertility and fun. So here's a few examples. In medieval Europe, the church condemned anything associated with sexuality unless for procreational means. Circumcision, chastity belts, and even public shaming of male male anatomy actually became these tools to really like suppress sexual expression. Breaks my heart, dude. Ugh. Also, let's not forget the era of hysteria for women and its equivalent for men, which was fears of excessive masturbation. In the 19th century, the idea of spilling seed became a moral panic. There was people like John Harvey Kellogg advocating for extreme measures like circumcision to prevent self-abuse. So, spoiler alert, it didn't fucking work. Despite the shame, the penis has always found its way into art and storytelling. When we think of Michelangelo's David, this is a masterpiece of Renaissance art that absolutely celebrates the male form. Fun fact, his penis is famously small and reflecting the Renaissance ideal that large penises symbolize brutishness, while small ones represented intellect and self-control. So in literature, like, the penis is often, symbolizing power, masculinity, or its fragility. So when you look at Shakespeare's body jokes or phallic imagery in modern novels, it's whether it's comic relief or a symbol of identity, the penis really keeps showing up in creative works and spaces. So also, who can forget the modern cultural obsession? So from fertility sculptures to dick jokes and every teen comedy, the penis really has kind of remained this source of humor as well as fascination. So in more recent history, the penis has actually become tied to the ideas of masculinity and identity. We've seen, how that toxic masculinity has kind of really placed impossible expectation on penis owners. The penis size myth, the idea that manhood is tied to this sexual conquest, like performance pressure. It's honestly, it's fucking harmful and exhausting. So thankfully, modern conversations like these, breaking down some stereotypes, right? People are talking more openly about body image, erectile dysfunction, and the realities of aging. We also have these body positive movements, positivity. It helps people of all gender embrace diversity. Because let's face it, like no two penises are the same. And that's a good thing. Otherwise, that shit would be really boring when you were dating, right? All right, let's get scientific. Did you know the penis has nerve endings very similar to the clitoris, right? So the penis has a fascinating anatomy. Corpora cavernosa actually is what fills the blood during arousal. It's the sensitive glands. And this vestigial baculum, right? It's actually a penis bone. That's humans lost millions of years ago. So that's the anatomy and how it's developed. How wild is that, right? So do you also know that the foreskin, when present, adds extra sensation? So those who are uncircumcised have more nerve endings. So here's the deal. This is where it gets frustrating because many people really don't know like the basic facts about their own anatomy. Myths about cleanliness, function, and size still persist. So let's bust a few fucking myths, yeah? First off, penis size has no bearing on sexual satisfaction. Number 2, erections aren't just about arousal. They're also about circulation and health, very importantly. 3, and yes, you can still get an erection after a vasectomy. No snipping involved. So here's the deal. What's next for the penis in modern culture? We're seeing progression about discussions about penile health without shame. Improving access to information, surgeries like circumcision and vasectomies. But there's also a growing acknowledgement of diversity. Trans men embracing phalloplasty, intersex individuals reclaiming their bodies, and the push to really normalize conversations about all bodies, regardless of size and function. So, the penis has been a symbol of power, pleasure, and identity for thousands of years. But, at the end of the day, it's just another body part, one that deserves respect, care, and a healthy dose of humor, just like everything else, right? So, if there is more information you want to know about the history of the penis, I'm going to list down some resources. Some medical resources for reference for you, all right? Here's the deal. I really want to thank you just for opening your ears to this random episode about the history of the penis because I am just absolutely obsessed with the anatomy and the biology, the functions. So if you want me to get a bit more clinical and we can get a little bit more on the anatomy and the biological functionings of this, versus just the topic around this body part. I really appreciate you joining me on this journey through history, culture, and science. So if you love this episode, share it with a friend. Drop me a review. Drop me a comment. If you have a question on a penis-related story, anything like that, send it in. I love new ideas for topics, or if you want me to delve in deeper, I totally can, right? Delve in deeper. Not a penis bomb, I promise. So next week we're going to dive into the history of the vulva. So until then, stay curious, stay kind, and remember, it's not about the size of the boat, baby. It's all about how you sail it. I'll see you next time. I really liked that. I hope you did too.